Hi everybody, this is Ellen. In this tutorial I'm going to show you how to make the Happy Pear. I think it's absolutely adorable. Just so you know, the flower that I had made, this is in my Happy Grape tutorial at the very end. That's where that came from. I had actually put on my strawberry first, but I didn't realize that so many people would want to know how to make it, so I fixed that and it's in the Happy Grape one. As far as bands, in total this takes around 260 bands to make. It is, for the main body here, it's 216 bands. The leaf is 30, the stem is 10, and then depending on what you do for the eyes, it could be another couple black bands or whatever for your eyes, and then the cheek bands and a mouth band. So these are all different, well, kind of all different kinds of brands of bands. There I go. These are kind of a cheap, the stretch band bracelet loops, kind of a neon color or something. They have different variations of what's actually green when you go to buy them. They all say green, but they look like there's like 3 or 4 different shades. But a little bit different shape for this pair. These are the mango bands from Rainbow Loom, and these are the neon green ones from Rainbow Loom. So they all kind of have a little bit different shape once you make them, so if that is an issue for you. I think that they all look pretty fabulous. Pears range usually from the green color when they're growing, and then when they get ripe they turn into the golden yellow, so made a couple of those. I've also seen some kind of off red yellowy pears too, so there's a lot of different colors you can use for these. These two are teal, Rainbow Loom teal, and this is, I think, an off-brand color too, stretch band bracelet loops. So we'll get started. The only wrapped bands we really need to worry about are the eyes and the cheeks, if you're going to do those. For the cheeks, it's just the color of the cheek that you want on your hook. Wrap it around once, grab both bands, wrap it around twice, and then the color of your pear. 2 bands, and you'll pull that through your design, or through your cheek. I'm filming late again, so hopefully I'm not too goofy again. So that'll be a cheek. You do the same thing for an eye if you need to, if you don't want to use the beads for your eyes. Black band or whatever color for your eyes on your hook. Wrap once, grab both, wrap them twice, and then pull through 2 bands the color of your pear, and that would be your eye band, like that. If you're going to use beads, these are 7mm pony beads, like that. You need to find something to thread through, thread the bands through the bead. Sometimes if you're using larger beads you can just push them through, but I'm using a piece of craft wire. You can use twist ties from the kitchen, pipe cleaners, string, thread, anything that you can kind of get 2 bands in between, and then you'll take it and thread both parts through your bead and pull them down onto the bands. Pull your bead down onto the bands, and then you have a beaded eye band. So whatever you want to do with those. And I think first we'll I guess I should say too, this is not a growing up design like the other ones is. It's made best if it just kind of, you leave it and keep pushing it down as we go. You can, if you're having, because right at the end, the last couple rows we put on, it does get, seems like there's a lot going on right there. If you really need to, you can let it grow up, and then at the end you'll have to turn it inside out, because this is the inside when we're looming it. If we let it grow up, then the inside of this is on the outside. So you have to turn it around if you have problems with it just being shoved down. I'm just going to keep pushing it down. There is room there, it just gets a little tight at the end. And I think what we'll do first is actually just make the leaf on the other end of the loom. So regular loom setup, whatever you want for your leaf color. This is entirely double banded. Actually, this entire thing is double banded, so if I say band, I mean 2. We're just going to start at the bottom, 2 bands off to the right, then up 1, and then a long cross up there to the middle. And the same thing on the other side, so 2 bands to the left, up 1, and then a long cross to the middle. Now we're going to do little arrows right here on the loom. 2 bands still. And then 1 more up here. Like that. Now we're going to do single chain up the center. If you've made my other designs, you kind of know what this is. It's just a shorter version of some of the other ones. Just found that it works for lots of things. Then we'll stop there. And then again, 2 bands for the cat band. You can wrap it around. I have been doing 3 times. It hasn't been too super tight or look goofy, so for that is the leaf, and we'll loom this out. So turn your loom around. You go in through the cat band, grab the top 2 bands, which are part of the single chain, and pull or loom them all the way up to the end here. Like that. Now we're going to use the centers of the single chain to loom out these side pieces. Like that. Then come back to your cat band, grab the top 2 bands, and loom them up. All the way to the point. And the same thing on the other side. I haven't used these bands very often, so I can see they're a little dry. For some reason I'm not a fan of the dark evergreen, I guess, so I released the cat band so it's not pulled so tight, as we're gonna just leave this on here and then move down and make the pear. So just kind of remove the cat band, let it sit there, and we'll pick it up later when we need it for the top. So down here, we're going to be actually making a kaleidoscope bottom for the bottom of the pear. And how we need to do that is we're going to have to drop a lot of bands. So I'm going to start up here a little bit, just because whenever I drop bands here, they always get stuck underneath that little ledge, and that bothers me. So just going to skip 1 pin and 4 bands. I'm going to go on this middle pin. Next 2 pins up will be 6 bands on each pin. If you don't get the exact number on there the first time, it's not a big deal. We can just pull them up later, but and of course I'm trying to hurry so you're not watching me do this for 10 hours. But then you get clumsy. So 6 here. Next pins up we'll have 4. Next pins up we'll have 6. Next ones up we'll have 4. Then the next ones will be 6 again. And finally back to the center with 4. Like that. So 4, 6, 4, 6, 4, and 6. Now 2 bands, and from the, if you look from the bottom here, if you go up to the 3rd pin in the middle, we're going to come back in what I guess I call the chicken foot, so from this pin out to these 3. If you're familiar with my designs, you've made this part similar in other things, so. And we'll go up to the next pin and then just go chicken foot, only pointing the other way. Like that. Now we need 2 bands for a cat band. And I'm just going to start up here on this pin. I'm going to wrap it around 3 times with 2 bands. It does get a little snug, but we want to make sure that the bottom stays closed and doesn't spread open. So now we're going to start looming. We're going to go in through our cat band and we're going to loom back these 3 bands. Like that. Now, each one of these 3 points is going to be kind of an end cap now for us for pulling bands through. So we're going to start here in this middle one, and you're going to reach up to the pin right above it, grab 2 of the bands, try and grab the 2 on top if you can. You can pull them or separate them, but it's just easier if you grab the ones on top. Pull them through, and then loop them back over. Go back through the same spot, and grab 2 pins off this right pin on the corner and loop them back over. And then the same thing back through our middle, grab 2 bands off the left pin and pull them back like that. So now it always helps me if I turn my loom here. So this is our next end cap. We're going to go through here, I'm going to grab 2 bands off this right pin, preferably on top. And pull them back over. And go back through this center, grab 2 bands off this pin on the left. Like that. And our last band, we want to grab the top 2 bands on this pin here, right here. Grab 2 bands and you're going to pull them up like you're going to loop them, put both ends on your hook, and then you pull this, our end cap, our fake end cap, pull that off the loom and put the stuff that's on your hook onto that pin, just like that. And then we turn our loom around to do the other side the same way. So in through our fake end cap here, you want to grab 2 bands from the right pin, pull those back and over, 2 bands from the left pin, and then again with the grab the 2 bands, pull them up like you're going to loom them, and then put the ones that are on your hook onto the pin. Like that. So now what we're going to do is that these last 2 bands that are on the pins here, for these 5 pins on this end, we're going to puff out this end of the design. So I know we put some bands on this pin, but we're not going to do this one yet. Just the 5 on the end here. So you grab those bands, go in through the center, pull them up like you're going to loop them, both on your hook, and then put those back onto the pin. So same thing on the corner. And keep going around on just those 5 pins. And last one. Like that. So now these 5 pins shouldn't have any extra bands underneath them. So now what we're going to do is take our end cap, the real end cap, and stretch it down and put it on this pin right here. So pick that up, and if you have problems, move this one up and actually stretch this over the pin. We're going to do it a little bit anyways, but pulling this down can sometimes get tight. So if you get these bands, so it looks like we have the end cap and then like a single chain up towards the end. That's how you want it to look, because that'll help us when we make the design to make everything squished down. So now we're going to do the same thing on this end that we did on this other end. So go in through your end cap, loom out the 3 bands, like that. And then I'm actually going to turn this around. Even though it's backwards, it works easier for me. We're going to work out of this middle one first. Go in through there, grab 2 bands from the pin right ahead of it, loom those up. Go back in here, 2 bands from the right pin, then 2 bands from the left pin. Like that. And turn your loom. We're going to go in through this next little end cappy area here. Get 2 bands from the right. Pull those back over. 2 bands from the left. And then again, we need 2 bands off the pin we're working on. Like this. And then we go to the other side and do the same thing. In through here, grab 2 bands. This time we'll go to the left. Then 2 bands to the right. And then 2 bands from the center. Like that. So now we can puff out the other 7 bands around. So grab those bands, go in there, and puff it out. And go all the way around. Corners have a lot of bands. That's kind of why we puff it out too, so there aren't so many to flip over when we're doing the rest of the design. And a couple more. So like that. Have them all puffed out. So now what you should do is take, you can kind of see I didn't move any bands here. Take this band, move it forward, move the end cap to the center. So end cap in the center, then there's bands looped out to the outside. And that just keeps the design even while we're doing the next rows and things. So push all this down. Now we're going to lay bands all the way around this circle or oval thing. 2 bands, and just go around. I don't think I actually planned to put the pear out yet, because I still had tweaking that I wanted to do to it, but I guess I teased everybody with it when I couldn't find something else in front of me to put the flower on. So I hurried up and fixed it to where I liked it, and then now I'm doing the tutorial. So bands all the way around. Now what you're going to do is flip over the bottom 4 bands all the way around over the top of the pin. Like that. So there should still be 4 bands around the sides. So then you want to push this down. Now we need to put on a mouth. And I'm going to put mine, you're going to want to put yours where I put mine. So putting it on this middle pin right here, on I guess the right side as I'm looking at it with the loom facing backwards. So it just makes a difference when we start reducing later on. So what we're going to do is I take a band on my hook, wrap it around once, so we have kind of a figure 8. Then I'm going to go on that pin in the middle, pick up those bands, push that mouth band onto those bands, and then replace the bands back on the pin. Like that. And our next row here, it's going to go all the way around, but we also need to put the cheeks on. So you want 2 cheeks. And we're just going to put those to the left and to the right of where the mouth is. Like so. And then around the rest of the way is going to be just 2 bands. Like that. Now we're going to again flip over the bottom 4 all the way around. Like that. Push everything down. Now we're going to need our eyes. And they're going to go right above the cheek bands. Like that. Then all the way around again with 2 bands. like that. And again, flip over the bottom 4. Like that. Push it down. Then we need to just have a row all the way around by itself. So 2 bands all the way around. Like that, and flip over the bottom 4 again. So there's 4 bands left around. Push everything down. And now we are going to reduce. And we are going to reduce this pin up here on the left, the pin right between the eyes and the cheeks, and this bottom pin down on the left. So what we're going to do is you go on this pin, grab the top 2 bands, pull them off, and you should be able to see really well where they come from. If it kind of seems like they're mixed up a little bit, you probably have a top and a bottom band. It's probably not a huge deal, but I would put them back on the pin and try and fish around for the right ones. So once you have those, see where they're coming from? They're coming from this pin where my thumb is. You're going to want to put them, kind of pull them across. So then this bottom band should just go where my thumb was. Same thing on this one between the eyes. Top 2 bands. See where they're coming from? They're coming from this top pin. So I'm going to stretch down to that pin. And then these bottom bands will go up to that pin. And then again, reducing one more time down here in the corner. Pick them up, see where they're coming from. Opposite pin. And then the bottom bands will go on the other pin. So like that. Push these down. Now we need to do a row around. So 2 bands around, and when you get to where we have reduced it, you can just take your 2 bands and just stretch it over that whole spot. And again, I'm going to stretch it over. One more long stretch. So now, when you flip these over, because we're starting to get into the congested stuff, what I usually look for is, if you're looking at the top, you can see our reduced bands right here. I usually look for those, and you can see them on the bottom sometimes too. I look for those first to flip over, because then it secures the top bands, and it makes it really easy to see the bottom 4 bands to flip over. So again, here's my reducing band. Flip that one over, and I can see those bottom 4 really easy to flip. And there's the other pins that we didn't reduce near that you should still be able to find the bottom 4. And so again, we have the reducing, find that band, flip it over first, and then the other 4. Reducing band, bottom 4. And this band, you have the long stretch, so I just tuck it back on the inside. And again, the reducing band and the bottom 4. And then 4. So we should still just have 4 bands on some of the pins. Missing it on these 3. So now we're going to reduce again. This time we are reducing the front, or the right side top one and the bottom one, and then the middle one in the back. So again, grab the top 2 bands. See where they're coming from, put them on the opposite pin, grab the other bands, pull them back to the other end, and for our middle over here, top 2 bands, see where they're coming from, pull them up the other way, and the other 2 bands should go down. And then this corner, top 2 bands, stretch over here, and the bottom ones, like so. So now, when you do 2 more rows on just these pins, there's no more reducing. So 2 bands, kind of a long stretch all the way around. There we go. This is where you'll start to feel the congestion mostly, and then the last row might be a little tough, but once we get it, then we're done with the pear. Like that. Now again, if you can see them for our reducing spots, definitely flip those over first, like up here, the reducing band, flip that over, and then you'll see the bottom 4 to flip over as well. Here's a reducing band and the bottom 4. Reducing band, bottom 4, and this is just a long cross, so I'm just going to tuck that back over. Of course, might want to see my reducing band a little better, so leave it where it was. Back in there, reducing band. Now I'll flip this back over. Now the bottom 4. Bottom 4, plus the reducing band. So you should just have 4 bands on the 6 pins. And we need 1 more row. So a little congested, but not too bad. We're almost done. So same thing, 2 bands to the 6 pins. Like that. And the bottom 4 bands all the way around. Like so. So now we need to close this guy, and I will say that this holds its shape just fine, but as far as being squishy, it's squishy, but you may want to stuff it with something if you want to. I know people like them when they're really squishy. They are squishy, but you can stuff them if you want to. You can try now while we're closing it, but you might want to wait till after you get all the bands in to do that. So 4 bands. That way if one snaps while you're closing it, then you won't lose everything. So first take 2 bands, put them on your hook, and then 2 more bands. Pull them through, both on your hook. Make a slip knot. And pull tight. Like that. I did find when I closed one of these earlier, I used my latch hook and I just went in, grabbed it, and pulled it all the way around, so I had the whole thing on here. Super easy to slide it off, on, and close it, but since not everybody has one of these, I'm going to just use this method. But if you take one end of the band and wrap it on your finger so we don't lose one end, and you want to start kind of in the back away from the face. You'll take your hook, stick it in through these bands back here, pull them off the loom, grab that threading band and pull it through, and hang on to the threading band, hook back into the next ones over, grab your threading band and pull it through again. Hang on to your threading band, back in, pull them off, thread it, and keep doing that all the way around until you have it off. It's pretty secure on the middle pins, so it shouldn't pop off while you're doing this, but want to be careful. Like that, and one last one. So now I have everything all looped up. I'm just going to put both ends on my hook and pull this off. And if you'll notice, it's kind of flat at first, but we fixed that. The mango bands and these ones, which are kind of sticky but not horribly bad, but they're kind of a plasticky feeling, they were a little tougher to get shaped correctly in the end, but I think they look fine now. So I still have this spot here. If you want to stuff it, now would be a good time to do that. But I'm just going to close this off with a slip knot. Pull tight. And just start squishing him. Get the bands rolling around. probably have to pop the cheeks out. They seem to want to always go back in when you're rolling them around. But like so. I know whenever I take them off the loom at first, I'm like, God, that's not very cute. I don't know why, but it's just something about adding the stem and the leaf that really makes the difference. So, pretty good shape. Nice little fat bottom pear. So we want to hide the tail. So I just stick my hook up through the bottom. Go up there, grab the tail bands, and pull them down inside. Then what we do is, we've got our leaf over here too. We're going to take our stem bands. It's 2 bands. Actually, let's stick it through the top of our pear first. I'm just going to stick it through, and you kind of want to try and center it as best you can. But I noticed, like, if I go super center, like this one kind of angled, so the leaf kind of came off to the front. And then this one was angled a little bit differently, so it kind of comes off to the side. So just kind of have to trial and error, I guess, to see if you get it in the right spot or not, or where you like it. But through the top of the pear, we're just underneath that threading band. We're going to take 2 bands, put them on our hook, wrap them around twice, and then pull that through the pear on the top. And center them on there as best you can, because I know I always pull tighter on the right side than I do the left. So then once you get that on there, our next one is going to be maybe a little tricky, but what we're going to do is we have all the bands on here from our leaf. We're going to put those on our hook. So if you want to push the pear down a little bit onto your hook, grab all of these off the loom. So they're all on your hook. Then you're going to want 2 more leaf color bands, and then we're going to double them on our hook, and you're going to pull these through the leaf. So if you point your hook down towards the leaf while you're pulling through, it shouldn't snag anything. Then just twist it around and put the band back on top. And then kind of center it. So push all this back down. Then we need 2 more stem bands. Put them on your hook, double them. And they're going to pull through everything on your hook right now. So the leaf and the other part of the stem. So there's the leaf and the stem, and everything back on your hook. Like that. And then we want to do this twice more. So 2 bands wrapped around your hook once, pull through, I think I snagged something. We don't want that. And there's a cat here. I can see it. Alright, do it again. Those cats are everywhere, I tell you. Alright, so you have the one, and then the one stem that went through the head, and then the next stem band that goes through the leaf. And this will be your third. And then 2 more for a fourth, doubled. Like that. And then the last ones are 2 bands, leave them normal, and just pull them through the top. Put both ends on your hook, make a slip knot, pull tight, And then if you're like me, this is because of the pulling tight that I do, my stem's all crooked. You'll have to go in here and adjust that spot to make it straighter if you so desire. Then the tail, you're going to go on the back side of the pear and you're going to weave it down the stem. So I'm just picking a spot. I try to go through all 4 bands, but it doesn't always work. Just pick a spot, thread the bands down, and just keep going down the stem until you can either hide the rest of the tail in the body of the pear, or it just hides enough in the stem. Alright, good. So there we have it, an adorable little pear, and you may need to adjust this a few times to get it the way you like it. So, adorable. Your leaf bands too, because these are double banded, you may run into that you need to go in and stretch them out. Like these were kind of sticky bands, so I had to go in and actually kind of adjust them like you would when you pull too tight on one side. So, adorable, adorable pears. You can hide over here. I think they're cute. I'm really excited about them. I think they're not too hard to make. Just gets that little congested at the end with the so much being kind of shoved on the loom, but that's the way it works, so that's what we're going with. So I hope you are enjoying the happy food still. I still have quite a few more that I have to get out yet. I'm going a little, I know a lot of people know that I have a family, which includes 4 children, so gets a little crazy around here sometimes with all that. So I get a little behind on the things that I want to do because they always come first. But I definitely have more coming, and I still have some bracelets in the works that I want to get out as well. It's always that time, so. But as always, I want to thank you very much for watching. I'm definitely appreciating it. Everybody's being really super awesome, and if you take any pictures of these adorable guys, you can put them on or tag me in them. Tagging me in the photo will guarantee that I will see it, as comments and likes kind of roll through my feed a little bit more lately, so I'm missing some pictures and things. Tagging me in the photo will make sure that I see them at some point. Or you can hashtag them to feelinspiffy happy foods. There are tons of adorable pictures there. And I think I said my Instagram was at Crafting Fantastic too, but I also have a Facebook page. All the links for that are underneath my video in the description box. And of course, if you want to see when I'm coming out with more things, you can always subscribe to my channel, so you'll be one of the first people to know, because when I release a tutorial, that is the first place I go to. Otherwise I can't link to anything. I'm definitely enjoying these. It's kind of different for me because I did bracelets for so long, but just want to thank you guys very much. You all are being so awesome. So I will have more tutorials for you soon, and happy looming.